Welcome. Well, we're just so happy to be with you here for the final closing episode of our amazing journey of these last 5.5 years with these online retreats. We've had a lot of fun, and we want to go fully into this miracle of the mind experience, because that's where the joy is, that's where the happiness, and yeah, just so grateful that you're all with us, and we're just kind of basking in it this morning, savoring it.
Yeah. It is such an experiential thing, this whole healing journey. The Course has so many words, but then in the end, it all leap into the experience that from within. And I think that's really what Jesus is aiming at. Let go of the world you see, let go of the world you created, let go of the thought that you created, and let me take you to a complete different experience, a complete different world. That's his message over and over again. And yeah, I just feel speechless, even just the gratitude for this journey and for giving over our mind to let the Spirit direct and guide. So I feel this is really our shared journey together here today in this online retreat in the last 5.5 years, and it will continue in different forms. That's what we know. It will definitely continue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's learning to just relax and enjoy, like to be like a twig in the river, to just be carried by the river, not trying to think that you have to do something as a twig, that you have to learn how to navigate the river. You just have to let go and let the current carry you, and as you go through that, then it feels more like the world and the personality, the person that seemed to be so important, it just starts to fade away. It just becomes more in the peripheral. And then something much, much stronger, much, much more joyful and peaceful and happy just seems to be in the foreground. And the body, the personality starts to just fade away. But you're cheering it on. You're cheering the fading on. Like, okay, if I had amnesia and I forgot God, and now the Holy Spirit's giving me a nice case of reverse amnesia. Forget this world and remember God. Reverse amnesia. Ooh, the Holy Spirit spins the tables on the ego and says, you're going to get so happy that you will just forget this world. Forget this world, forget this course, and come with open arms unto your God, from Workbook Lesson 189. So that sounds delightful. We're just actually kind of in that song of the miracle of the mind. Yeah, just we're singing along with Amanda Cook there, because it's such a happy song. It really is a very happy song.
Yeah. And yesterday, last night before bed, I just flip open the Course to see whether there's anything that stands out. And I read this part where Jesus is saying, there is something in this world that is the total opposite of the ego in every single way, from the source, from the effect, from the purpose. And there is one thing in this world that's the total opposite of the ego in every single way, and that is miracle. That's his definition of the miracle, is a complete opposite of the ego. That's what our journey is about, is to actually allow him to perform miracles in our life, in our mind, first of all, because everything that seems to happen around us all come from we give our mind to nothing but miracles. And knowing that we can't perform miracles on our own, to know that there is someone else that has the strength of the Christ that will perform miracles for us in our mind, this is where we can relax. He said, do not ask what is the ego. Ask instead, am I willing to save the world with me, with him, capital H. So this is like, okay, we don't need to even analyze, we don't even need to ask those questions, but just ask what is the desire of my heart? Am I willing to say yes? Am I willing to give it all to the Spirit and truly step out of trying to control and trying to make sense of everything, but let him take us on this ride, let him help us change our mind and to have miracles to start from the mind and radiate out to the whole world. That is so relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're just letting go of all distinctions and differences and conflict in our mind. Some of you are familiar with the very, very, very famous Lord's Prayer from the Bible. And in that, part of that prayer is, give us this day our daily bread. And he goes on to say in that on earth as it is in heaven. And Francis recently, in the last couple of weeks, was quoting that line where heaven and earth cease to exist as separate states. I like that, because that's what the miracle is. The miracle is showing us the connectedness even beyond what the ego made, where heaven and earth cease to exist as different states. And that's the thing that when the ego mind has no way of appreciating that. But imagine that no matter what your physical eyes seem to be showing you and what your ears seem to be reporting or what you smell or taste or touch, that you become so swept up in the inner glory that you can literally behold that glimpse of heaven in the here and now with whatever seems to be in front of you. You can do it. You have a big smile on your face. Your forehead is serene. Your eyes are peaceful because you're so sure and you're so certain about the connectedness. Gone is this idea of isolation. Gone is this idea of loneliness. Gone is this idea of not being worthy or having a hole, like in the movie yesterday where Theodore says, maybe I was just trying to fill a little hole, and yeah, maybe it won't work, but I was trying to fill a hole when he was going out on that first date. He was just telling Samantha later, I was just trying to fill this little hole, hoping to fill this little hole inside. And I think that's what the miracle does. It gives us this wonderful, expansive experience in consciousness. It's the tippy top of consciousness where it's just saying, this is a perfect reflection of the love of God and nothing is lacking. Nothing need change in this world for me to be happy. I am happy because of my Creator, my source, and I don't need something of the world to make me happy. And that ends all dependencies in the world. That just is like saying, I am sourced by a loving Creator. I have no need for this world perception at all. And then the world ceases to exist as a separate state from heaven. It's not like you have to go somewhere. I think Alan Watts, who was in the movie yesterday, he said he searched for years to find the ideal place. And he finally heard, I can't find the ideal place. I guess I'll have to be it. Woo! That's what Samantha was getting into, a little Alan Watts thinking, merging with Alan and talking about going higher and higher and higher in awareness, And isn't that more attractive than kind of thinking what you're going to do we're trying to plan the future. When you try to plan the future, it's almost like you're asking this question, which of these hypothetical future outcomes and scenarios will make me happy? And Jesus is there going, none. None. Forget your planning, forget your future goal. The world is a world of temporary images, so which of the future scenarios will make me happy is another version of, oh, Holy Spirit, of these illusions, which one would make me the happiest? The Holy Spirit says, none. I've been saying this, none. You are as God created you right now. You need nothing in the future to be who you are right now. Rejoice, be happy, be in the glory of God, accept the miracle of the mind right now. And it's just so different from all of our programming because, why Francis and I were in university for like 20 some years together combined, and really what was university about except preparing for the future? I mean, who goes to university if you're not going to, why would you spend all that money? It's a lot of money. It's a lot of papers to write. It's a lot of exams to take. It's a lot of work. It's actually much ado about nothing, but at the time it's a lot of work. And it was for future happiness. Like Frances used to say, her plan for her lifetime was to study, earn money through good jobs, get enough of a big of a nest egg of money, and then at the end of her life, she wanted to travel the world. And Jesus said, okay, we can do it. Here's my way. and basically had her unwind from all the things she was doing for a future happiness. And then Jesus took her on a magic carpet ride. Really, it's been quite a ride. It's not the way you thought.
No, it's almost like every single plan we have, it's such a small, limited way of seeing ourselves, because you don't dare to ask for the happiness and the joy and everything. You ask for money as, immediate. To say, okay, give me this money so that I can have a little bit of that. It reminds me of this one episode in The Chosen, where this guy, I think he's paralyzed. He is in is at like a public fountain, and it's a magic fountain where people need to jump into the pool when the bubble rises up to get healed. But the guy is paralyzed, so nobody carries him to the pool. When the bubbles start to rise, they all jump themselves for their own sickness or whatever. So the guy have been there for years and years and never jump into the pool. And then Jesus came and said to him, do you want to be healed? And he said, take me to the pool. And Jesus is like, you don't need a pool, I am here. You don't need something in the middle between healing, which I offer, and your health or everything you want. You don't need the pool. He said, I'm here. You rise up and take up your bed and walk. And that really is the true experience, where we ask for all these little things in the world, a degree, a title, approval from others, a relationship. Really, ultimately, you just say, I want happiness, and this must be the means to get it. So I'm going to get the means first, no matter how much, what it takes of me, 10 years of university, doing something I don't want to do, doesn't matter, but this is the happiness, this is the joy that is promised of me at the end. And here Spirit comes, Jesus comes and says, don't go there anymore, because I'm here now and I live with you. I'm with you forever. So call on me and I'll take you to happiness that's not provided by travels or different things. And yet all of these, as long as you think you need it, as long as you think it's still a whim, still happens, but completely showed up in a different purpose, not not to prove anything, to provide you with anything, but you receive first in the mind, then you receive everything in perception as being abundantly provided. It really happens that way.
Yeah.
That's very beautiful.
You find what you're looking for. The mind is that powerful, so whatever you're looking for, you will find it. Prayers are always answered, but you have to ask yourself, what am I praying for? Is really the deep question. What am I praying for? Am I praying for eternal life, for happiness, for joy that has no end? Am I praying to know God, my Creator, or am I praying for things and stuff of the past to be repeated again and again and again and again, turning into a seeming karmic loop? But I like the ones throughout history that have thought differently. Like, I was in the field of psychology for quite a while. I love studying philosophy and psychology. I studied different spiritualities, different religions. I always liked new thinkers. That's why when I came across Abraham Maslow, I thought, here's a psychologist I want to read more about, because he thought that in order to understand the mind and the psyche and psychology, Abraham Maslow just thought, I want to study the happiest people on the planet. Isn't that wonderful? A psychologist has an idea like that. He's not going to study the sick ones. He's not going to study what went wrong. He's going to study the happiest people. And he said, not just living. He was going to go back and research past historic people that were known to be extremely happy. He was including Eleanor Roosevelt, the wife of President Franklin Roosevelt, because here was the wife of a president of the United States that was really generally very, very happy. She was a happy first lady, so he put her in there. He was studying philosophers and different people. And then he came up with this pyramid where you have to meet your lower needs, your basic needs, and then you work your way up toward your being needs. And then the top of the pyramid was self-actualization, actually being who you really are, actually reaching a point of completion with know thyself. And when he got to the happiest people and he studied them, he put on all their characteristics and traits. I was fascinated that somebody would actually study the happy people. And then I was interested to find out at the time, since I was into psychology, what are the characteristics? And one of the characteristics of self-actualizing people was that means and end were together. The means did not come before the end. The means and the end were simultaneous. I thought, fascinating. That's fascinating. Can you give me some examples? Yeah, it's like the artist who's so in the joy of the art pouring through that they have no thought of the art as something separate from themselves, or something that will bring money, or that they can sell to earn money, to survive as a body. The joy of the painting, being in the glee of the painting itself, not the painting as a noun, but the painting as a verb. To be in the joy of painting, to be in the joy of dancing, to be in the joy of singing, to be in the joy of speaking, to be in the joy, this moment of whatever's coming through from that inspired state of mind. And I thought, wow, Abraham, that is so cool. That's something to aspire to. I would love to experience means and ends are together. And then even in A Course in Miracles, Jesus teaches the very same thing. So he's teaching us, when he says use this miracle worker as an example, he's saying that if you say yes to be a miracle worker, you get the means and the end together. Isn't that quite a deal? I don't know of any vocation in the world where they give you your bonuses, your perks, everything, your retirement, your severance pay, everything all up front. Imagine going in and getting hired to be a professional, and they say, oh, by the way, here's your entire package right now. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to earn it, you don't have to work for it for many years. You get entirely given everything immediately. But that's an example of the means and the end are together. Because it's our state of mind that we really are praying for, to be happy, joyful, and peaceful. We're not really praying for future goals. The goals of A Course in Miracles are so different from the world because all of the goals of the world are for the future. That's the definition we would say of a goal. It's something in the future. And Jesus comes in with this, he puts present goal. Woo, what is that? Present goal. Woo, how do I even think about a present goal when all I've ever learned my whole life was future goals? And now he's saying, here, go for a present goal. And to experience this present goal, you're going to need present trust. Don't let the past teaching and learning guide you. Let present trust direct the way. Wow, that's an exciting adventure. That was probably the most exciting decision I ever made was, okay, I delete my resume, that's gone. And in terms of the future, I'm not going to put any mind energy into the future. I'm just going to let present trust direct the way, moment by moment by moment. And maybe if I do that, I'll discover what this moment really is. Maybe there's a wonderful gift. It's all gift wrapped. It's got a ribbon, and Jesus is saying, open it. Go ahead, open it. Like a little child with a present under the Christmas tree, and Jesus is saying, open it. That's it. Tear the ribbon off. That's all right. Open the box. See what I've got inside. And amazingly, it's the present moment. It's nothing more than present happiness. It's nothing more than present glee. You don't have to think about achieving something or attaining something or accomplishing something. Isn't that relaxing? Doesn't that go against our programming big time? And yet I find it's the most practical. It's the most practical. So here we are. This is our moment. I mean, Frances was saying that the movie yesterday, she was just noticing, for me, I'm like in a transmission of happiness and joy. And she said, and everybody's happy. It's contagious. The joy and the happiness is just absolutely contagious. She said, I don't know if people understand what you're talking about, but they're happy. They actually feel it. They feel it directly. And I said, yeah, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of the transmission, is to
Direct experience.
have an experience that has no end.
Yeah, I was just saying that, really that shows the only responsibility we have is allow ourselves to be in that state of mind, miracle state of mind, and not really feeling responsible for the world, having to what people want to know, what people want to see. But when you are in that complete miraculous state of mind, when you are happy, that happiness go directly to everybody's mind. It's completely beyond words, because everybody recognizes that light. And that light is a transmission. It reaches from seemingly one person to the other, but that shows the connectedness of our mind completely. And we are here to be happy, truly happy. Only in the Christ mind can we truly be happy, can we be in our environment that we're created, be really content, relaxed, satisfied. And in that, all the world is taken care of. All the world is taken care of. Everybody would be happy in our perception because we are happy inside first. It's so profound.
Yeah. Well, Jesus says, love cannot be far behind a grateful heart and a thankful mind. It even rhymes. And I was thinking, we had some people writing in. Our friend Diana Deneb wrote in, talk about a grateful heart and a thankful mind. Hi, Diana. Oh, you're glowing today. Wow, it's so bright.
I want to read. Should I read that?
That's beautiful.
Yeah, Diana wrote in, Dear Davy and Francis, I wish I had the words to express how grateful I am to you and the entire community. You have loved me in moments when I see myself as unlovable, been patient with me during times of resistance, and trusted in me despite my doubts about my devotion. True reflections of how Jesus sees me. The past 4 years of knowing you have been a significant and rewarding experience for me. Although I may not have always expressed my gratitude and love explicitly, I want you to know that I try to show it through my willingness to support, collaborate, and serve in any way I can to extend these teachings. Collaborating with you has been my lifeline during the storms, a practical way to anchor my faith during challenging times, an opportunity to receive inspiration and comfort in my heart, and a tremendous blessing in my life. Thank you all for your devotion, demonstration, and the light that you bring. I look forward to continuing to collaborate with you all in fulfilling God's will for us and living His beaming love. With much love. It's beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful, yeah. It's beautiful that you express that, because a lot of times I think you're speaking for so many that feel like, I want to express my gratitude. I hope you can feel my gratitude, and your heart of service and devotion, is so beautiful. Mother Teresa is smiling over you. She's like, whoa, look at Diana there in Mexico, woo. She's carrying on the tradition of love and service. And oftentimes people who want to serve, they say, but what do I have to offer? What possibly do I have to offer? And Diana actually is trilingual. She actually speaks English and Spanish and Portuguese. And oh, Jesus loves that. When He wants to shine His message across the globe to everyone, and those languages are amazingly expressive of the love of Christ. And then there you are, just saying, I'm a willing vessel for you. My mind is all yours. I give it to you to use for the good of everyone. And that's, when we talk about service and devotion, it's more that you turn in your mind and say yes to God, and then you let the inspiration come through you. And then all those skills, it's kind of like a symphony. All the notes get played, all the instruments get played. It's a beautiful symphony, but it's only possible with the yes, when you say yes in your heart. So thank you for sharing that with us, with the community, and certainly with Jesus. You are shining your light so beautifully, and that's a testimony. Yeah, so beautiful.
That's a transmission.
It is.
It makes me feel so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, sweet.
Thank you.
Okay, is there other ones that we had a whole wave of questions and expressions at the beginning of the retreat, but now we've got some beautiful ones coming in.
Yeah, Silma actually wrote in a quite long one, and a new version of Michael Jackson's songs, lyrics of Heal the World. But I probably will go to the heart of the question. Silmer said that I've always had deep love, compassion, appreciation, and gratitude for all the living sentient beings, and that includes vegetables and all time-space kingdoms, animals in particular. I've been training my mind to be able to extend the same benevolent perception to people. So these are the questions with which I've been grappling and try to grasp. If we, Christ, is pure thought creation in the mind of God, animals are our own version of creation by God's only begotten Son, who believes himself separate from God. Are animals a projection of the ego belief like the rest of the projected images of the seemingly separate mind of God's Son? Or are animals part of the oneness of Christ, like the reality beneath those projected images? That's beautiful, because it's funny. Last night, as I was reading the Course, I felt so filled up at the end. I was just lying down after I read one chapter, and I just lay down, just feel like, oh my God, my heart was expanding just with the word of Jesus. And I laid there for a long time after that, just feeling so filled up. But one of the part that I read makes me think of this question. So I would like to maybe read that. It's from chapter 31. That's the last chapter of the text. And section 8, choose once again. And here it says, you are as God created you. So that's like a direct identity. You are as God created you. And so is every living thing you look upon, regardless of the images you see. What you behold as sickness and as pain, as weakness and as suffering and loss, is but temptation to perceive yourself defenseless and in hell. Yield not to this, and you will see all pain in every form wherever it occurs, but disappear as mists before the sun. A miracle has come to heal God's Son and close the door upon his dreams of weakness, opening the way to his salvation and release. Choose once again what you would have him be, remembering that every choice you make establishes your own identity as you will see it and believe it is. That makes it so clear. I am as God created me, and so is everything I see. Everything. That brings the world as not compartmentalized ego perspective. This one is special, that one is less special, this one is guilty, and that one is holy. It's like the holiness comes from accepting our identity and extend out to absolutely everything we see. That brings perception to one.
Yeah, everything comes unified. So Mara, it's like, well, St. Francis was one of the great nature mystic examples through history, such a demonstration of kindness and gentleness and meekness and so loving that the creatures of the world came to him. The butterflies came to him, the deer came to him, the squirrels came to him, they came because they felt his meekness, his defenselessness. They felt in his heart the welcome, that it was safe, there was no danger in approaching him. And so if we just say the world's just a reflection of our state of mind, and you feel that connection and love and gentleness, and then you draw forth these witnesses, then they are witnesses to the Christ. They are witnesses to the divine love. And we've had, every house, every property we've always had animals either showing up at the front door saying, here I am, open the door, I'm ready to be adopted, let me in, or they've been picked up, like our dog Benito was down by the airport after Jason dropped me off, a street dog. He was a Mexican street dog, and Jason was trying to hold him and talk to him and tell him not to go on the major highway. And he kept running for the major highway, so finally Jason just picked him up, put him in the car, and took him back to La Casa de Milagros, took him to the vet to clean him up and groom him a little bit. And then he's still there. He's still there with Zion. Interesting names we have for cats. Grace, Zion, Lucy, Unity. It goes on and on and on. ISO, from the movie, was that Tron? Yeah, the ISOs were these bio-digital jazz, man. That's ISO. He's bio-digital jazz. He's right here with us looking looking at the crew with his peaceful gaze. But these we can start to see are reminders. It's like when you look into the eyes of one of these beloved animals that you have this connection with, they're just looking back at you and gazing at you in astonishment of, do you know who you are? They're just like, oh my gosh, they're bowing in hushed gratitude to the shared depth of love. Do you know who you are? When you look into the eyes of an animal, you know, it's just looking at you, gazing at you. Do you know how beautiful you are? You know, it's a transmission. And then when you tap into that transmission, then that's everything. You know, that takes it away from the world and trying to put it in a box or put a label on it, because Lesson 184, you know, tells us that anytime we try to categorize or label or name something, we try to set it off, give it a meaning. And when we give it a name or a meaning or a category, then Jesus says in Lesson 184 that we try to carve it out of the unity that is what's really there. And he's saying, you know, put down your carving knife. We don't need to carve anything. We can appreciate the whole, appreciate the love, appreciate the spirit, because that's what it's just there as a reminder. It's simply just a reminder. So thank you for that beautiful question for all of us, and we both enjoyed your version of Michael Jackson of instead of heal the world, heal your mind.
Heal your mind.
And then it also inspired me, because as soon as I read through your song, then I had Jesus singing Michael Jackson's song too, Man in the Mirror. But it went, I'm looking at the mind in the mirror. I'm asking it to change its purpose. No message could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at your mind and make a change. So, thank you, Michael. I think Michael's with us. Heal your mind and make a change in mind. Change your purpose for the world, and then the whole world lights up, including all the beautiful animals and everything else. Everything lights up when we change our purpose. So,
It's beautiful.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Wow. Well, do we have anything else we want to read and look at? Sam was asking about mind training, and Kat was asking about energy.
Do you want me to read?
Maybe we can read Kat's.
Okay. Kat wrote, Hi, Francis and David. Hi, Kat. During this retreat, I received some beautiful and helpful answers to prayers that have been in my heart lately. It always seemed to happen at these retreats. So awesome. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I do have a question about a comment David made on Saturday during the mind-tripping movie Her. David, you said there is no such thing as energy. In the clarification of terms, energy is used as follows. The term mind is used to represent the activating agent of spirit, supplying its creative energy. Also, light is defined as energy. Nikola Tesla said, if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy and frequency. Can you clarify this for me, please? The awesome power of love/light/God seems like incredible, unimaginable power/energy to me. Thank you both for the love you teach. Blessings, Kat.
Beautiful. Yeah, in terms of the cosmos, there obviously there's different types of energy. There's nuclear energy, there's electricity, there's Nikola Tesla and Westinghouse and Edison were quite fascinated by their discovery of electricity. And we see a lot of gadgets nowadays. If the electricity goes out, we have to scramble to do our broadcast. But in terms of energy in the world, even if we took it to the point of light, because Einstein was a quantum physicist, and he basically said that basically the one constant in the cosmos was the speed of light. But when you look at even that speed of light, traveling at a very, very high speed, but speed is a concept that's unknown in heaven. There is no speed in heaven because everything is purely abstract. Now, admittedly, we have no examples of abstraction in the world because everything is specific. Even the speed of light, the one constant that Einstein found in the whole cosmos is still a speed. It's very fast. But fast and slow are concepts that are part of duality. And God is the I amness, the creator that is prior to the cosmos. So before Abraham was, Jesus taught I am. And you could say that the same before electricity was, before nuclear power, nuclear fusion, nuclear splitting of the atom was, I am. Before the speed of light in the cosmos, we have had people say that when you see stars, you're really just seeing something that has burned out long ago, but the stars are so far away that it takes so long, at the speed of light even, to reach the human eye and to be perceived. And then Jesus turns it around and says, no, stars are projections. The speed of light in this world is a projection. And the quantum field that the quantum physicists talk about is a field of energy, and it's where there's complete connectivity. So that, I would say, would be like the quantum physicist version of the happy dream, or the real world that Jesus talks about is this quantum field. It's unified energy. But also Jesus tells us that the happy dream, the true perception, the real world, they're all illusions. Even forgiveness is an illusion, he says, because in truth there is nothing to forgive. God is a oneness that literally transcends forgiveness. However, if you believe in the ego, forgiveness is the last and the most important illusion, because it's coming into the awareness that the separation never happened, opening the way for, as he says, God to take the final step, or really the remembrance of the I amness that's prior to the cosmos. Prior to time and space is God, is the Christ, is pure love. Or even the Christ has creations, eternal creations. That's all prior to time and space. So anything that involves speed or can be measured, oftentimes physicists will talk about energy, and that's really for them a good approximation of God, because they'll say energy it's always there. It may transform, it may change in form, but it's always there. It never goes away. And for a scientist, that's a pretty good approximation of where this is all heading, with no religion or theology thrown in. Just that energy is always there, it changes form. But the kingdom of heaven, changes form doesn't even compute in the kingdom of heaven, because there is no form. Heaven is pure abstraction, pure love, pure oneness, pure spirit, pure divinity. The words, even when people go through near-death experiences, when they go through the tunnel and then they meet their relatives that have passed away, and then they go through life reviews and everything, but when they finally come to a direct experience of the light, oftentimes they'll just write, speechless, no words, indescribable. The words fail, actually start to fail in the presence of love. It's so vast, so beyond anything of this world that the words start to fail. That's part of our online retreat. Our use for words is almost over. Our words are beginning to fail. We're having trouble remembering the words. It's spiritual Alzheimer. We're going into spiritual dementia, and we're rejoicing and laughing every step of the way as we go along. Frances has recently had some experiences where, it's just, she's blanked out on the world, What did you say to Lisa one time? What is a donkey? They were having a discussion about something for some time, and then Francis turned to Lisa and says, "What is a donkey?" And Lisa was just like, "Okay." Maybe this is one of the reasons why this is our last online retreat. They can't do it anymore. It's like, what was it? A Few Good Men. You can't handle the truth. Yeah, maybe I want to experience the truth, and I can't handle the world anymore. Maybe the reverse amnesia is starting to kick in. I'm forgetting the world and remembering God, in a beautiful way. So, yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think Artin and Persa talk about this too in Disappearance of the Universe and Gary Renard's books. They will talk about the energy idea as just being something that I think I would say it can be a metaphor for the awakening mind that's coming from a scientific perspective. I think it can be quite a useful stepping stone and metaphor. But in the ultimate sense, it's like the Course says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So reality is totally beyond definition and beyond measurement. And with energy, of course, there's all kinds of attempts to define it, and that's why we have different variations and definitions and descriptions of different kinds of energy. But Jesus, I think that's the workbook lesson today. There is no love
But the love
but
of God.
God's. Isn't that this
Yes.
is our workbook lesson for today. There is no love but God's. We could say that even when in the clarification of terms, where he's talking about the mind as the activating agent of spirit, supplying its creative energy, if you're talking about the divine mind, then that would be the light of God. If it's just synonymous, I would say, with spirit. When we're talking about the mind as the activating agent of spirit, then it's still talking about the awakening mind. But the divine mind, like the mind of God, in which Christ is an idea and the mind of God, that's purely abstract. So that would be an example of Christ being an abstract idea, beyond definition. It's not Jesus, the man. That was the demonstration in the form. That was the Holy Spirit using the puppet to demonstrate something that's way, way, way beyond the form. But when we talk about the divine mind, that energy would be different from the energies that we would say defined in the world, the ones that are being discovered by physicists, the ones that are constantly being discovered, the nuances and the variations that are being discovered, those are all part of perception. And perception is in the end, it's unnecessary. That first it has to be, like we'll say, purified or unified, just like consciousness has to become, you have to reach the tippy top of consciousness before you're taken off. I mean, I would say leap off, but it's more God, you've absorbed in the love of God. It's not like an action, but it's more of like there's nothing else. Even Jesus talked about that when he talked about the crucifixion and basically was explaining that he could not die, but he simply remembered all that is. So it was more of a remembrance than like a spirit leaving a body or moving beyond the time-space realm. It was more just a remembering of what is. And that's a recognition. That's something that's already known in heaven, and now it's just seemingly, known again. Oh, there it is. This is what's real, this is what's true. And it's way beyond perception. So Jesus will talk about it a little bit in the workbook, and he said, but what could this mean to you who count the seconds, minutes, and hours? You see, he cuts off his own description, because he just says, yes, but what could this mean to those who still count the seconds and the minutes and the hours, He says at one point, we say God is, and then we cease to speak. Wow, that's powerful coming from Jesus. We say God is, and we cease to speak. So I think our focus has always been, with these 5.5 years of online retreats, has really been on forgiveness. Forgiveness is part of is the present learning goal of A Course in Miracles. And really, Jesus is just telling us, you don't have to try to leapfrog over forgiveness, because I've given you a very high learning goal. so just go for that. And then everything else will be taken care of. Just go for the goal. But it's a present goal. So it's different from all of our other goals. We have to kind of reorient, and so we're just so grateful for you, and just so grateful for our love and connection. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you.
So, what do you feel now?
It's very interesting, because we have some questions, and when I read the question, I realize Jesus has addressed these questions in the Course in a very, very direct way. So David Padden from Canada wrote in, how do I see my brother without a body? That's a very short question. How do I see my brother without a body? And Jesus has a very short answer as well in the Course directly about that. And he says in the Course, he said, the question does not have to be, how do I see my brother without a body? But instead ask, do I wish to see him sinless? Do I wish to see him sinless?
That's the question to ask, instead of, how do I see my brother without a body? He's saying, ask instead, do I wish to see him sinless? So we don't have to worry about the bodies. It's like, do I want to experience my brother's, my sister's innocence, is really what Jesus is saying. That's your question. Do you want to experience yourself and everything and everyone as innocent, is the actual question. And then there's another part of the Course where Jesus says, denial of the body is the inappropriate use of denial. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That's a good one to hear. What do you mean? Denial of the body is the inappropriate use of denial. He's saying, well, the body, like everything else of the cosmos, is something that you made. So it's part of your self-concept. So he's like saying, why are you picking out of the whole cosmos one little teeny slab of flesh and making a big deal about that little slab of flesh? You're not making a big deal about the stars. You're not making such a big deal about the planets. You're not making a big deal about the black holes. Why are you making a big deal? So don't deny the body because it's part of what you made, but come back and look at the purpose in your mind. What is the purpose for a body? Now that is a good question. What is the purpose for the body? And Jesus says it's a communication device for the Holy Spirit while you still believe in communication, like we'll call it timeline communication. It's just a communication device and nothing more. So instead of blaming the body, instead of glorifying the body, instead of condemning the body, instead of praising the body. He's just saying, why don't you just ask instead, honestly, sincerely, Holy Spirit, what is your purpose for the body? And the Holy Spirit will say, I want to use it while you believe in it. So I'm going to speak through it, if you don't mind. I'm going to smile through it. I'm going to laugh through it. I'm going to hug through it. I'm going to shine through it. I'm going to share through it. And eventually you're going to realize that you don't have to believe in it anymore. You know, you believed in it, but if you let me use it for my purpose, I will use the body to undo your belief in the body and your identification with it. I will use time to show you that in eternity there is no time. Isn't that beautiful? I will use time to teach your mind that time doesn't exist and that you are as God created you. You are still spirit. So it's more getting into the spirit of retranslation. We're not here to talk about Armageddon. The world will end when it's retranslated from condemnation into blessing. The world will end when we start to laugh. Where there was sorrow, we start laughing. And we don't have to have stand-up comedians to laugh. You know, we can watch the news. we can start watching the news and go and having a belly laugh with the news. Now that is, Jesus is like, good, 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 good. Now you're getting really close to the end of the world, because this world will end in laughter. And it will end in the Holy Spirit's gentle laughter, not anything but the Holy Spirit's gentle laughter. Almost just a soft, kind, mild little laughter that's there, and you go, yes, of course, thank you. I remember now. I remember to laugh. So thank you for raising that up. That was a very short question, but it has a great answer underneath it.
I love that Jesus always almost like downplay with any kind of change that we need to trying to make externally, but bring all the power back to the mind, all the change, all the causation back to the mind. So there is a way that you can make a change. You actually have a choice, but the choice is only here in the mind. Which voice do you want to listen to? Which thought do you want to give your mind over to? And that is, at that level, we have choice. And everything else, what we perceive, how the perception plays out, whether their body or it's completely coming from that place. And Jesus is so direct, he does not really necessarily adjust to our frame of thinking. He just said, trust me, this is where the causation is, and I'm gonna keep pointing you to the causation until you really do what I ask you to have an experience and have this real confidence in yourself that you can change your mind. Once you change your mind, you will find a different world. That's what he's actually saying. Choose forgiveness, and the body will disappear. You know, this is as simple as that, but do not question the choice of forgiveness. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, oftentimes when it comes to the topic of the body, people will tell me it's just I feel stuck in the body. And Jesus is just saying, just keep trusting and keep coming inward, and I'll take you into an experience where you transcend the body entirely. So you will just laugh at the thought that you were stuck in a body. You know, he will take us into a vast experience, a mystical experience of union with the Creator, in which we laugh at the very idea that we ever could inhabit, just as a thought, like, well, that's a silly idea. Like, why would I even think I would want that or could try that? Not something that was done, but something that was just a crazy idea. And then we start to think, that's really silly. I showed the movie Time's End, which is the name we call it, but there was another name for it. The Emissary. It was just called Emissary on Star Trek. It was from back around, what was it, 2003 or something like that, or early. And in that, there's a direct encounter, not with a species, but with the light. They go through a wormhole, and they have a direct experience of the light. And then the main character is trying to convince the light about human experience, you know. And at one point, it tries to convince the light about birth and death. And when it starts to talk about death to the light goes, die? What is die? It doesn't compute. The light absolutely cannot understand these concepts. It's good. That's beautiful to have that kind of a reflection, because that's what we're praying for. We're praying for an experience where the word death or die ceases to have meaning. we give one last look at it and we go, wow, that was crazy. It was crazy to believe in death. It was crazy. That was not in love. That was not a creator-inspired idea. Death is not inspired from God. It doesn't have a source. So then we start to say, well, if it doesn't have a source, then I don't want to believe in it at all. And Jesus is like, good, now you're getting it. Now you're getting the gist of the whole thing. So, yeah, wow, beautiful. And we've talked a little bit about some transitions that seem to be coming as we talk about our use for words is almost over. Maybe we could share a little bit. We've got that passage, and then we could actually share. Francis and I were talking, and we basically just live from our hearts and live in the happiness and joy and inspiration. So it's not for us so much of a future thing. It's more of just seeing what emerges, what comes out, and that passage is very reflective of that.
So do I read it first?
Yeah, that's from the workbook?
This is from workbook for students, but is in after lesson 350. It's part 2. There is a question there. The question is, what am I? That's his way of answering, what am I? So first, this is a quote to answer that question. I am God's Son, complete and healed and whole, shining in the reflection of His love. In me is His creation sanctified and guaranteed eternal life. In me is love perfected, fear impossible, and joy established without opposite. I am the holy home of God Himself. I am the heaven where His love resides. I am His holy sinlessness itself, for in my purity abides His own. Then he goes on to say, our useful words is almost over now. Yet in the final days of this 1 year we gave to God together, you and I, we found a single purpose that we shared. And thus you joined with me. So what I am, are you as well. The truth of what we are is not for words to speak of nor describe. Yet we can realize our function here, and words can speak of this and teach it too, if we exemplify the words in us.
Exemplify, there it is.
That's he put the focus on. Exemplify.
Exemplify, demonstrate. Yeah, that's the focus. That's the focus for us now. And yeah, we even our community is going through so many shifts and changes. Yeah, later on today, Francis and JP are beginning a big trip. How many weeks? 7?
7 weeks.
7 weeks. to Japan and Australia. And we have so many movements going. I think already Emily and Jason have begun their extensive travels. Our friend Amelia, she was one of the first ones out of the gate. And so we not only have movements of people, but we're kind of shifting formats a bit too. For these years, we've been doing weekend online retreats, and we've been doing movie workshops for, I think, over 3 years, Saturday movie workshops. So it's like we're just coming closer toward the end today. Pete will kind of summarize a few of those in describing it, but actually it's just in our minds, it's kind of just like taking a pause and making a space for what is coming through. And so it's still kind of coming to us. You know, we can't really describe it completely because it's coming to us, but I think I saw Kristen on here, Kristen Marco. I was talking to Kristen, and I was kind of explaining. She was at work at the time, home care work. Hi, Kristen. And I was kind of excitedly talking about just a bunch of ideas that were swirling and would maybe involve some maybe weekend retreats that involved comedy, we said, music, some skits.
Comedy.
It's comedy skits and little drama skits.
And singing.
Singing. There'll still be like a worship component in there, but very exciting new kind of ways. But I think it's more just that demonstration or the exemplify that you just said, you must exemplify. It's a focus on the exemplifying of the beingness, of the state of mind, and letting that pour through in all kinds of different ways that come as just a reflection of inspiration.
Yeah. And also it's a way also, because our community have been like a group of people that come together. There are a lot of new people coming to join our tech and AI exploration team. But there are a lot of people coming together. Truly, we live such a life of collaboration and opening our heart to each other in very expansive expressions. You know, maybe at the beginning, a lot of the expressions is about sharing our thoughts, but then gradually it evolves into this expression of joy, expression of our heart in very different ways, creativity, and it just comes out in a very spontaneous way. So we feel like it's in our heart to collaborate with each other, with you as well. Just there's such a collaborative joy that is bubbling up in our heart when we're thinking of continuing in extending, but not so much focusing on words, but focusing on this collaboration and the joy of the moment and the spontaneity, and see what comes through when a lot of people come together. So we're very excited, and it would be still, in this form, like a weekend, every weekend. Instead of monthly, we're actually going to do every weekend, but the weekend, what to come, we can't really see it yet, but we just know it's going to be a lot of joy and a lot of collaboration, and just allowing things to flow out from this happiness.
Yeah. Still perhaps some movies in those weekends too, but not quite the same format. How many hours were we going yesterday? Was it 5.5?
5.5, yeah.
5.5 hours. So we might have like maybe 4 segments over a weekend, and each of those segments would have some kind of expression. And then as we move along, there may come a time, Francis was talking even about maybe perhaps more towards the end of the year, in December or November, possibly an online retreat. But it wouldn't be like just a a short, maybe 3 days,
maybe a week.
maybe about a week long, where it's just kind of an immersion toward the end of the year, where we come together with lots of joinings and extensions and expressions, but that's all, kind of over the horizon for us. But those are just ideas that are just starting to filter in, that are coming in. And also, that's what we love about Zoom here. It's very interactive. So when we open it up, we want to hear what's on your heart too. And some of you, are not necessarily wanting to be on camera, and that's beautiful. I think Heidi, you send in such a beautiful long expression to me on Facebook that was so beautiful, and we love that. We love to hear from you. We love to hear what is it that is touching your heart. What is it that is most helpful to you? What is it that you feel would be expansive? Because we stay wide open to let the Spirit inspire us, and let the Spirit comes through our brothers and sisters all over the world, in many, many, many countries. So yeah, it feels like a good time to start to open it up. And I see we have Adriano there. Nice to see you again, my friend.
Great. I want to give my kind of testimony, because yesterday you said clear, yes, after 5.5 years is this weekend retreat, or weekend online goes to end. And I hear one, twice, 3 times, oh gosh, that's really happened. And then I remember that I was in the first time in January, and yes, I felt a kind of a little bit of nostalgic, yes, but I'm very thankful for you all and Jesus, and I think in this time I judge myself as a kind of slow learner, because after 5 years I can not just understand deep in myself, but to have these glimpses of joy and love that comes from my mind in a spontaneous way, on to push, or just intellectual to understand, and I can read the book on, oh yes, I can see it, my eyes, I can see it, what it means, and I feel it, and I can do it. Yes, thank you for this journey, for this adventure that we have together in these 5.5 years.
Mm. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Adriano. I remember that. I remember that too. You showing up in our lives on that online retreat all those years ago, and yeah, how touched we are, and always have felt with all the love and the extensions of love that pour through, and the sincerity. Just we feel your deep sincerity, how impactful and important it is. So thank you for your testimony. That's so beautiful. We're honored. We're honored to share this with you, share this together. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it looks like we have, Diana and Miguel from Mexico City. Hi there.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Um, well, it it looks that it is not a mystery that I am uh, trying to change my mind about my body and about um this belief, strong believing in this thing called body, which has been the base of all my life in so many years. And I was talking to Diana for long months and weeks about what did or do I need to make this leap, this jump, to clarify my mind, because it's too strong for me to live in this kind of trap, which is the body. I'm quite sure that if I haven't done this leap to other healing situation in my mind, is because I'm not ready. So yesterday was very touching for me, and I want to thank you, David, because I was totally decided. We were about to ask you where can I get in touch with those places which let you go or help you go through psychedelics to reach this place, because I was talking to Diana and I said, I need that. I need to see it. I need to see the truth. It's really important to me. It's the only way I think I'm going to say, yes, this body is useless for what I thought it was going to help me. And we were talking about this stuff, and yesterday I wasn't expecting to talk to you. We were just watching you. I always taking notes about you said, because it's very important to me. And suddenly you mentioned myself and start to talk about the body. We still are talking about the body, and it's really significant for me. And in one point you said, like if you were reading my mind, you don't need psychedelics. You can touch this place without that. And I said, yes, of course I I may touch it without these things. And I want to thank you, because it's like you are always there, uh, telling us, communicating us stillness, happiness, and don't worry, eventually you will touch it. And yesterday I thought, yes, when I'm ready, they'll come. I'm still fighting with this. 2 days ago, I had if you can say, I have a bump in my face. I had well, it was not an accident. It was an awakening for me, because it was still, I had a week really in the form, really in the exercise, really in bad mood, And I was at my job, and suddenly, boom, something jumped from a machine and struck my face. It was a piece of rubber. It was not a metal, it was a piece of rubber. But yes, it caused me a big bump in my face. So I ran to the refrigerator and took some ice and put it in my face, and I stayed long time there applying this ice, and it was a very clear experience because I was like uh, staring to the floor with the eyes for a long time, and then when I raise my face and I start to see everything in front of me, I see clearly it was a sign. I mean, it was a communication. I know that it was like something took me out of this state of mind, really dark state of mind, and I really think about it. I never start to complain about this whole accident because it was not an accident, it was awakening. And all this way, it has been full of experiences, and I'm sure he's he is very close to me. He's pointing me. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. You will be fine. And yesterday you said, no need of that. Hold it in there and you will have it. We need certainly to have some more work in your mind. So I want to thank you. I want to hug you. I want to see you. And hope it will be soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, it's like earlier when Francis was saying the miracle is the complete opposite of everything in this world. It gives us a clue of how we just have to let go. We do have to let go, and many of us really tried to be good at controlling the world and controlling the body and controlling our environment. We thought that was good. We thought that was the way. And yet now it seems more our path is one of surrender and letting go. And I love those witnesses I get when people write or call and say, wow, I'm just practicing, just accepting what's given. And then you and Diana are there together, so you could practice with each other, like taking a day where one just feels inspired of one thing and then inspired, and the other says, oh, yes, I accept. Oh, yes, I accept. Oh, yes, I accept. And feel the lightness and the joy of that letting go, that we actually realize we don't need to control the world. We don't really want to deep down. We want to have a deep connection experience, and it comes from trust. There's so much trust that comes to us when we say, show me the way. I don't know the way, show me the way. Then we're really on an adventure. We don't need psychedelics for that adventure. We're on a real deep dive of show me the way. So that's beautiful that you can do that with each other, and you can feel the immediate rewards of that trust and that letting go. So thank you. We feel your heart. We're all with you. We're all with you both. We feel your hearts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. And I see Patty. Hi, Patty.
Hi, David. Hi, Francis. Yeah, so I wanted to share something that's been on my mind for quite a while. I exercise a lot. I love to cycle, and it's something that I do with my kids, and I run with my dogs. And for the Saturday movie workshops, I usually spin during them, as you know, and it's really helpful for me because I have ADHD, and so it's something that helps me to focus, actually being moving. And so it's been super helpful, and yet there's this unsettled feeling because there's a lot of talk about, not needing to exercise, and for me, it feels like it just it helps me connect even more. And so it feels like this gift, and it's sort of, and I also feel like, people are kind of inspired by what I do, because I spin for hours, and during the workshops, I do it for most of the workshop, not 5.5 hours, but 3.5. So, and then I go and I do events with my friends, long cycling adventures and stuff. And I guess I just want to just put that out there because it's such a big part of my life, and it has transformed in terms of me competing versus joining in doing it, and just feeling like it is a connection for me with God, as long as I keep the purpose up front. And I have some ego stuff that gets in there, of course. It's not all divinely inspired yet. But I guess, wanted to, for one, yesterday I had a little bit of an ego reaction with, we're not going to have the workshops anymore. And I have this thing that I do and I love it. And it took until, when you were just talking about, we don't know how it's going to look. And I trust it, because whenever anything changes in the community, I go, okay, this is part of my undoing, like not having to plan and not having, this is how I do it. And so it just lifted, David, when you were talking about, we don't know what we're going to do. And maybe there'll be more, there'll be some skits or whatever it might be. And so it's just an adventure to see how it unfolds. And I just want to keep using my, athletic pursuits as just a way to connect with God, and just wanted to get your, I guess, thoughts on that. So I'm looking forward to whatever transpires. And also I do have expression sessions that I'm doing on Tuesdays, if anybody wants to find me on Facebook and wants to join. And we're doing that every week, and it's just another way just to connect. So thank you so much. And yeah, and I'd love to hear your thoughts just on the whole thing that I said. Thanks.
Yeah, beautiful, Patty. Yeah, I know that Jesus and the Holy Spirit really use whatever is believed in a way that can bring an experience of greater joining, greater connecting. So I relate to that, because there was times in my teens and especially 20s where I was very, very athletic and involved with so many things, body in motion all the time, from running, 10K races to golf, tennis, baseball, basketball, a little bit of football, all kinds of things. And even going to the gym at one point, and then really praying, like, what is this for? And then Jesus saying, when you go to that gym, I want you to be open and communicate and connect. And just the exercise is more of a backdrop, a theater to the connecting and the communication. So that's the way that it's gone with a lot of those athletic abilities, and the desire to use the body in that way. And then Jesus saying, yeah, give it to me, and I will use it in a helpful way, and use it and use it and use it. And so I think that's beautiful too, because it's something right now you can say you enjoy, and you said it yourself. You've let it go, shift from a competitive frame of mind and purpose to a one of connecting and joining. That's the most important thing right there, is we go deeper. That's like that prayer at the beginning of the book, you know, I'm here only to be truly helpful. And then he goes on to say, I don't have to worry about what to say or do, for he who sent me will direct me. So, and Francis was saying that the other day, you were saying that word involuntary jumped out. The curriculum is always forgiveness, but it's highly individualized, and the main point is to relax and let it feel involuntary, like it's just feels like the thing that draws you, and it's just, you're just observing and watching as things are unfolding, which is what we're doing with whatever's to come. We're just observing and watching, and going to rejoice every step of the way, every moment of the way, and kind of behold what comes forth. So yeah, we offer our love and blessings for you in that, and that's part of the joy we can see on screen. When I'm sharing at a movie gathering, I'm watching. I had to do a makeshift yesterday. Pete and Linda and we shifted over to La Casa, but Pete was pointing out on the keyboard, the top of this keyboard is one button with a piece of like masking tape. Just hit that and you go to the gallery view. You can go between speaker and gallery. So that's the fun for me. During the transmission, I can see you spinning, and I can see all the faces and everything. So it's the illusion of having an audience to speak to instead of looking into a screen. It's beautiful. It's like we're all in a big digital audience, digital room, digital Zoom room, and then everyone's doing what they feel do. Some people are reclining in a bed or like this, and you're spinning, and that's part of the fun of it. We couldn't do that really easily in an auditorium. We can in Zoom. It's the best of everything. So thank you for your expressions and just following your guidance step by step of what feels helpful and right. I see your puppy dog is over there too, joining you there. And yeah, that's the way. Oh, oh, sweet. He knows he's on camera. He's like, whoa, I didn't expect that. So we just love you, and we send all of our love to you, and yeah, thank you. It's been beautiful. It is beautiful to continue on like this together. Thank you. Oh, sweet. And Patricia. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good.
I just want to share something with you guys, both of you. Yesterday, well, not on Friday, you know, when you announced that was the last retreat online, I was surprised, but it was okay. Like I had no problem with this. Same with yesterday, watched the movie and her, and I've seen it before, and it's always when we watch it the fourth, fifth, and last time also with your commentary, it's so helpful because we always get something else, another message and everything. So, but again, you mentioned that, we might stop all the movie and stuff like this, and the last day is June 24th. So, but I was okay with this, no problem. So last night, I'm going to get the point. Last night, I go to bed and there's no problem. And oh my God, at around 1 o'clock in the morning, I had such a huge nightmare. And it was you and Francis in my nightmare saying, well, there is no more Living Miracle community. This is disappearing. We don't like you guys. This is over. You know, we give up and it's all disappeared. And I'm like, I just stood up in my bed, and first thing that come to my mind, it's Holy Spirit, help me. And I'm screaming. So that came, and I'm not like I'm. This is not very funny, as you can imagine. So I'm like shaking like a leaf. I'm all sweating, and I just stood up, and so I come up here, and it's dark. It's very small, so I come up here, and I have my notes. Holy Spirit was ready for me. And it says here some of my prayer that I collected, with the Course in Miracle, that it spoke to me when I'm in a state like this, that I really need some help. And the thing is, I know that this dream came from my own imagined guilt and fear. I made this up. And now it needs to be forgiven. And I've done this also. And I did my forgiveness, and I give it to Spirit to be cleaned out. But then the prayer is, you are a holy child of God. You are. I'm free. I'm free of all limit. I'm an eternal spirit, and I am one with God. And I can only bless and be blessed. And thank you, Holy Spirit, for bringing me this incredible community. And I understand you're not disappearing. You're not doing a disappearance of the universe on me. I read Gary Renard's book, that Not to Worry, but so thank you. So appreciate it. And again, that's another miracle, and so appreciative. And I love you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
looking forward to all this beautiful miracle. And I'm so excited to have all these young people, this young intern. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, guys, you don't know how much pain you're saving yourself. Can you imagine, being 25 years old? Woo! I can only say, hey, hang in there, and thank you for doing it, because we need younger people to show the light. So thank you, David and Francis. And Francis, have a great time, and I know a lot of people will be healed. And again, thank you everybody. I love you.
Thank you,
Patricia.
Thank you.
Love you.
Oh, that's precious. Oh, so precious. And I see Brian there. Hi, Brian.
Hey, David. Hey, Francis. Well, I guess I have two questions. I thought it was going to be one. But before I came up here, I was super anxious about speaking. And when I turn anxious, I can't tune to God, it feels like I block that out or something. It's like it goes into my body goes into panic mode. I'm just wondering how to bring it back. In those moments, even in those moments, how to tune to God. And then I have a second question, but maybe I should allow first. Should I ask the second question as well? I'll ask the second one. So the second question is, my cat is dying right now in the States, and I want to send her, healing. And I think my prayer is really like, what is true healing? Like, how can I give true healing? Because whether she dies or lives, I want to give her, truth and yeah, the love of God, or true healing. True healing is the term that feels right. And yeah, and I feel like it's still like a reflection of mind, of like this projection of like anxiety and death in the world. And like I really want to, like, I want to forgive that and like take it back. I just feel like it's, it's kind of, it's a lie. And, I'd like to stop. Um, my prayer has been like, I want to stop lying to myself. And yeah, so those are my two questions.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, with anxiety or panic attacks, it is good to possibly have some things in mind that you feel like you could like turn to. Sometimes people turn to a mantra. Sometimes they have something that they want to come into their mind to focus on when they start to feel the anxiety rising or the panic attack coming on. I remember many years ago I was at a spiritual gathering, and I noticed this elderly man. He would kind of take his thumb and his pointer finger and bring it together. I watched him. He brought it together. It was like a little symbol for him. I could see in the middle of the talks and the discussions, and when he would have emotions coming up, he would simply do, I noticed he would just do that. And that was like a little tactical way of like saying, no, step back here, remember. Something very, very simple and very, very easy that can be like this soft reminder. And I was at a retreat, so I watched him do it a number of times over the retreat, just bringing himself back into the presence. So I think that's the thing that comes to me immediately. Just something very, very simple would be helpful. And then what was the second? The cat. Your cat back in the States. Yeah, sending love or sending healing is more, I think what that comes down to is oftentimes gratitude. Like you have a deep love for your cat, a deep gratitude, a deep appreciation. And when I have come through those kind of things myself, it just feels like this deep involuntary gratitude just starts to well up, like a huge thank you. And I think that's the most helpful thought that we can have too with our loved ones and those that have been so important on our journey. We want to just express this gratitude that sometimes we don't even have words for. But in one sense, that is the way we are healing our mind too, because we called on those witnesses of gratitude. We called on those witnesses of helpers. It sounds like your cat has been a very big helper for you in your journey. And I know I could go through from childhood all the way through and name all the cats and dogs and that I have had that have shown up as helpers along the way, that were just there to be with me and kind of help me birth my way through these intensities that I had to face. I had to allow up from the unconscious mind. So that feels like the best prayer of your heart is just when you send healing, just send that thought of immense gratitude, and then receive the blessing of what you send. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
And we have Maria Solomon from Texas.
Hi. First, my deepest gratitude for the online retreats. I've been enjoying them very much, and this is only my sixth one. Because I found David in October, so I didn't know about the retreats until December. So I've been attending every time, but yesterday I was like, I just came home and now it's going, it's leaving, but I accept that, everything that is coming is, it's the same. It's just different, but it's working for the same. So thank you so much I enjoy everyone, and thank you to my brothers and sisters that attend every time, because, they help, with everybody asking the questions. It's immense. Okay, my question is, David, if you could speak about the value of going someplace to join brothers for the purpose of healing. People go to India all the time to awaken. And I do not necessarily believe that you had to go anywhere to awaken. But my experience at La Casa, it was that things speed up. Something happened. What I saw at La Casa it was just a lot of devotion, love. The talk is about miracles and miracles all the time. There was Kirsten on Friday's session talking about miracles. The word miracle is all over. And today, when you open up, Francis was talking about miracles. It's beautiful. And so, I don't want to dismiss the fact that, living in community, people push buttons, but the beauty of all that is that with no pleasing people and no private talks and the session, that is so helpful. And so all that, I think there is some sort of synergy, because the work is teamwork, it's in collaboration. And I think I could see synergy at the level of the form as well as of the mind. I brought a huge gift from La Casa, and that was I was given permission to ask Jesus for a miracle. And I did that session with going deeper with Jason, and then a few days after that, it just something happened in my mind. And when I came back home, it just opened up. I can ask Jesus for a miracle. I really never before had asked. I've been struggling for years with this situation of my daughter, and it felt like that bump of Christian on Pilgrim's Progress. I was carrying, and soon as after I got there, things started dismantling. Like one day I was talking to Jesus, and this rush came to me that I never loved my daughter. I never did. And the role of mother starts disappearing. And there was a book I picked from the library with Marcela, and that book was so helpful for the first few weeks. And so I think there is something that happens when people go places and join for the purpose of healing. I don't know if you could speak about that. I also, with Brian's question, I had in my mind about remote healing. And my greatest gratitude, I can't even express how grateful I am about these 6 months, with you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah. It's not so much a question of place or going places as it is just your willingness to open up and say, Spirit, show the way. Spirit, point me, guide me, direct me. And it's good to have examples. There are those that have seemed to just say yes to God, and it involved a lot of travel and movement. And then there's others that it's much more of a sedentary inward journey. I remember when I studied psychology, philosophy, there was one one philosopher in Germany, Immanuel Kant, and I just adored it when I realized his contribution. He came up with the question. He asked it. He thought of it. It came to his mind. How do we know what we know? And I thought, wow. So I immediately started reading more of his teachings and philosophies. But I was interested to know that I think he lived his entire life in one city in Germany. I think it was Heidelberg. He did not leave that city. He went so deep enough to ask, how do we know what we know without the symbol of travel? But I think you're just experiencing, for you, it was very helpful and very important, but it's more that you listened and you followed. And then by listening and following, you've been taken in the span of maybe these 6 months into a very deeper perspective, a deeper experience of what you've prayed for. So I think it's not so much of the place, but it is more just the following what really is given you. And even, I guess, Francis, you're getting ready to go on 7 weeks of travel, but you were saying it's like there's a whim in there. You've had a whim to take a trip and travel, and there it is. It just showed up.
Yeah. And also it's, so much about the purpose of the trip and how you give it over to want to strengthen the miracles and want to strengthen the trust. And I feel like for you as well, before you came to La Casa, you were so much wanting to heal this frustration with the addiction of the daughter, and you feel so enmeshed in that pain. And when you came, it's almost like an immediate step out of the situation and give all the attention back to the mind in La Casa, because that's what was emphasized so much. And I think with that it's the freedom that you experience. This is such a freedom because there's a contrast experience of wanting to step out of this frustration and not able to change your daughter and not able to feel peace around it either. But this immediate step away to give over your mind to letting go of perceiving the problem as outside and focus on your own healing in the mind. I think that's really the focus, and I think that's really the purpose of every single, I have this whim to travel, still do. So when the trip comes, it feels so miraculous and delighted, and yet in the end it comes to the use of it and the purpose of it. Like this, may this become a way to strengthen the trust, and the more trust, the more stepping out of the way and give it over to the Spirit to heal the mind and to behold the perfection, So I think that's a beautiful. It's coming from the purpose that you gave to it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Very dear, very touching. Mm. Mm. And Portia. Hi, Portia.
Hey, hello, friends.
Hi.
I'm just hearing what Francis just said, like, what's the purpose? Have a purpose for my speaking. I frankly don't like being on camera. I keep taking myself off because I'm just so self-conscious of the body. It just annoys me. But I wanted to share, Francis, months and months ago. So Mike passed away 6 months ago now. And before he passed away, my husband, for those who don't know, of 32 years, you said, so I brought it up and I was pretty riled. I was pretty resistant and angry. And like all the brakes came on. Like, how in the world could I live without that being here, without him? And you said something like, you gave a beautiful, calming expression, and you said, you may find out there is no death. And I came away feeling kind of like angry about, I can't see that there's no death. His body is on its way out. Like, I kept thinking that, well, maybe she's saying if I had a little more faith, he will take up his bed and walk. Like, he won't die. The body won't leave. But that didn't happen. The body left. And when I watched the movie yesterday, Her, I was refilled with, I really found out there's no death. When he left, I never felt like he left. I just watched this body decay, and I have multiple times felt closer to him without his body in the way. There's been moments where, I think I'm kidding myself, and I'll say, is this really Mike? And I heard a scriptural reference, and I opened it, and it said, husbands, love your wives. Like, it was so clear. I'm being told, yes, I'm here, Portia. And then it almost comes to this point where it doesn't matter if it's Mike or not. There's this joining that is happening, that I'm recognizing how much the body and the belief that he had in the functions of the world that was real to him, that got in the way of our joining. And the crummy part of it is, I remember feeling many times that I was taking advantage of him because he was handling the world of form for us really well. And I didn't have to. And I was so free in that. And when he left, and I still felt him, he no longer was taking care of all of the world of form. And I had a brand new job that has been very big, very big. I had no idea all of the details that go into managing a home, a life, a bank account, and everything. And I'm quite smart, but I just didn't have to take care of it before. So I've been taking care of it. And it's been 6 months of taking care of it. I've sold my home. I've bought a new one. I haven't quite moved yet. I'm in the process of moving. And it is really like a yo-yo, like a roller coaster ride, because I'll get really frustrated in moments. And then I just know, okay, I'm believing that I'm a widow. In this moment, I believe I'm a widow. And I'll go blank. And I'll hear, you never were a wife, and you're not a widow. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm one with you. And then these answers just magically appear. Literally, a check in the mail appears for the very amount that was told to my head. I thought I owed my new buyers. I thought they were asking for $14,000 more off the price. And I get all tied up about it, and I'm fighting with, how am I going to respond to this? And then I just say, I can't stand how this feels. I'm forgetting about it. And I'll sit down, getting ready to speak, and I'll hear a number. And then my realtor gives me their request, and it's the very number I just heard, much lower. And so I know to say yes. So I hate to speak with you guys without having some really great question, because I do love what you have to say to me. But I just got to tell you how I feel like I want to just express this truth, and that the yo-yo continues to descend into the belief that I'm a widow who's handling the world, and I get uptight with people. I was kind of rude to Kirsten the other day. I forget all over again. And then I just know it doesn't feel good. I ask for it to be released, and it returns. So, I know I want consistency. And I have had to let go, like you guys are doing now. When Mike passed, I suddenly had no structure of my day that wasn't, I've always done my own kind of spiritual structure, my recovery structure, but I don't have to prepare food. I don't get up with him. I don't take care of the day, the household, and have it ready for his dinner. All of that just flew out the window. And it has been a huge adjustment, like I'm assuming may happen when you let go of this continual expected, relied upon, here's what's next. It's been really a courageous jump to say, I guess I really don't need to know. And when I can go to that, man, I feel so much better. And the happiness is very spontaneous. And the direction is often not what I expect. But everything seems to keep getting handled, in spite of me saying, I don't want to read all the details. I can't handle all the form. So, I don't want to keep going on forever, but I know that a huge part of my strength and my connection to the divine is due to the interactions I've had with you, with everyone in your community. I'm so grateful. I was real excited when I saw that you have a in-person retreat coming up here in Utah. I filled out the whole form. I thought I got to get in first and get my private suite. And then it came the part about, do you have any problems with doing the functions here? And I had paragraph after paragraph of this body doesn't work. And so I erased the whole application. And I don't know if it was guided for me to say, you don't have to do it. I don't know what the guidance is, because I have such a block to using this body in a frightening way. Like I've hired movers. I can't, anyway. So a lot of this idea floating around my mind about the body and its predominance in my awareness and how to let it go is a real topic now that I'm the husband and wife of the Porsche life. But I hope I can get, my wish is to come see you guys in September, but if I'm not there, I don't know what to say about that. But I really love all of the people online and what you're doing. So thank you all. And moment by moment, I'm with you.
Beautiful, Portia. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, even with these applications, just say it as it is. You could say it as however you need to say it as strong. Like, yes, I have a problem with doing this and that with the body. This is just say it, speak it directly, and that's the most beautiful thing, because we love you and we've had such a glorious interaction there with you, and you came all the way down to La Casa and many, many things in Utah. I think the last time, Svava and I were flying in and you just, we didn't have transportation. You picked us up at the airport and we stopped off at grocery stores. We went, I think you took us to the Apple store down at the Crossing Creek or whatever, the one downtown. And to me, that's the most important thing. That's what I do every day when I get up. I just say, here I am, Lord, another day. And I'm happy to be on call, to serve in any way, if it's a phone call, if it's this, if it's that, how can I be helpful? That's it. Love cannot be far behind a grateful heart and a thankful mind. And you're just in a time of seeming big transition, and so is our community. That's like the running joke in our community. Someone will say, wow, we are in a time of major transition, and then someone will say, when are we not? Like, are you kidding? Like, some of this has gone on for 10, 12, 15 years. It's like, are you kidding? Transition. This is like seems like our life experience is just, okay, what's next? And okay, what's the guidance? What's the guidance? What's the guidance in the moment? So we love you, and yeah, since you're right there with us, I would just fill out the application and just write whatever it is. Don't even give a second thought to it. Just pour it out. That's it. Our love transcends bodies, whether bodies do things or don't do things. You know, the love and the joy is what's important. So thank you, Portia. We love you so dearly. So good to see you again here. Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you, Portia.
Woo. And Teresa. There's Teresa.
Hi. I said, oh no, but I mean, oh boy. I just wanted to share the experiences yesterday. It's so amazing. I couldn't come see the movie because I had something I had to do. And I went to pick up my granddaughter, and we were playing the radio in the car, you know. And all this music was coming on. It was okay, because on the way there, I realized sometimes that I could feel my connection. I could feel it. I couldn't hear things, but I could feel it. And so when I first got in the car yesterday, and when I woke up, when I got in the car, I said, Jesus, stay with me today, because I don't want to leave you. When I go out into the world, it's something I think I have to do. Sometimes I leave you, and I don't want to leave you behind. And so I started driving, and I sort of drifted off and realized my car was staying in the lane. And I was getting towards the tunnel. But my granddaughter got in the car, and we're going along. And I told her about that, you know, and she changed the subject, and she said, Gigi, you got to be really calm to listen to this song. You know, it's playing loud on the radio. And I said, wow, I'm calm. Because I was calm. Not so like right now. But then last night, I took her back. It was late. And I came back, and for 2 miles, I think or more, at the tunnel, there was this big accident, and there was 3 lanes of backed up traffic, and I was in the middle, and everybody wanted to get in my lane, you know, because they thought it would go fast. But I let some people in, and then I was just going along, and this giant silver thing appeared to the right. I mean, it was glowing from a light or something, but it was a giant silver thing, and I looked, and I could see the top of the wheel well sitting in my little SUV, and I went, wow, this is a gigantic silver bus. It looked brand new. And as the traffic moved slowly, he was trying to get in my lane, and he almost hit my car. So I stopped to let him in. You know, I'm going to fight with a 25,000-pound bus. And it went past to get in the lane in front of me, and guess what it said on the side? God loves you. God loves you. And I was so sad sitting in all that traffic, but not really sad. Everybody wanted to get in my lane and, you know, let them in. And then this big bus comes, and that was the perfect ending. And Jesus was with me all day. There's so many things that I can trust in, you know? And they just come one after the other. Even with Billy, he said, let's go up to the bar and eat dinner. And I said, okay. And Jay said, all right. So we go. And I always order a beer because I love beer. And when we got up to leave, you know, one beer, I tripped, and he said, damn, he said, damn, you're a cheap date. But everybody in the restaurant that heard him, all the guys started laughing, and the women were giving him a scornful look because he said, damn, you're a cheap date. But that was fun. He cheered up the whole, you know, restaurant by saying that, the guys anyway. But the whole day was something I'll never forget. And then last night I was praying and I said, I'll never forget anyway, because all the good things he helped me remember. And I enjoy the Christ community so much, this academy, because all the little tidbits they put in, the one that helped me the most this week was when I felt like I couldn't feel Jesus anymore, I just closed my eyes and said, God. And then I feel him. So I could actually breathe. And I wanted to share that mostly, but I was so excited about all the fun and stuff that happened yesterday. It's nice to get it all out today and move on.
Yeah. Beautiful, Teresa. Yeah, I saw your message at the beginning of the day, like, I'm not going to be able to be at the movie today, but I'm going to really stay here and stay connected. And you did. So, and you really got the big signs too, even the God loves you on the giant bus. So you know, it's almost like you said, I want to stay connected and make it obvious. and there it was. Even if you didn't say those words, Jesus knows your heart. So thank you, Teresa. We're so glad. That's a great demonstration. Yeah, you just follow your heart, your joy. Wherever you go, you bring the light with you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And is it Odd? Odd? Hi there. Nice to see you.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to tell you again, I see it's the last retreat. I went to one in November, I think it was November, where I discovered the beauty of your presence and how you would convey the message of Jesus. So you have been, you guys, a tremendous help in my life, just coming back to the child spirit that I've always known in my heart, the words of Jesus, the joy, what you were saying, David, earlier, saying that being the joy at each moment of what's happening. And this has lifted such a weight off my shoulders, because I knew that since I was little, and I see you're living it, and you're such a great inspiration to me. So I just wanted to tell you thank you with all my heart. I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to meet you in person. I live in France. For the moment, it seems far to go to the States for a retreat, but that's the wish of my heart, to be able to meet you, to share the smile and the look in the and hug and share this love of life and Jesus. And yes, it's possible to be happy and to give happiness. Thank you with all my heart. I will be with you always. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, we have had an invitation to the south of France for 1 year from this month, exactly May, when the 2024, when the lavender trees are blooming in the south of France. So just stay tuned. You know, we'll see if that's a little whim of yours. Maybe that happens. In fact, in 2024, that's really the only thing on the radar that has dropped down, and it's May. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Lovely. And Sophia. Hi there.
Hi. Ooh, feel my heart beating getting on the screen. So last week I realized I was sick and tired of how I was creating my experience. I had allergies flare up because I was sweeping and dust came in my face. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just keep creating ailments to experience with the physical body. So I Googled healing the body with the Course in Miracles to have like a more direct approach and found your videos and have been submersing myself like nonstop because I have so much evidence, like so many medical diagnoses that support me, like grasping, see, I am this and I have this thing. So that's created a lot of separation. So when I feel a lot of the ailments coming up in my body, I'm like, okay, if everything is meaningless and I'm creating this, like, why am I creating my body to experience this sensation? Like, why am I creating this for myself? And then I hear your words in my mind, like, oh, this is a way for me to project separation. You know, it's my guilt, my unconscious guilt. And I'm projecting that onto my physical form. So I've just been in real time, like asking God to come in, asking Christ to come in and to embody that forgiveness for having separated. So within that, there's been some crystal clear moments in this timeline of my life of like, oh, my grandma, whoa, I didn't realize I was holding this guilt. Like, can I forgive her? And just real time inviting in Christ, forgiving and feeling relief in my body. And it reminds me of how you said your friend had that toothache and the guy said to him like, oh, go forgive your father. So that's what I'm noticing is like a piece that is I'm getting tripped up on a little bit in moments, because if I'm really identified with the body and I'm like surrendering it over and asking for correct perception to flow in and forgiveness for having projected separation, I think my ego is like getting tripped up on, well, I don't know the exact space of forgiveness in this moment. You know, sometimes a memory will come up. And I don't know, I almost didn't raise my hand because I'm like, what exactly are you asking within this? I guess just anything that would flow through around forgiveness more. And do you have to identify the exact moment or scenario that's not being forgiven? Because like that dude with the tooth, like, what if he would have never went and forgave his father? You know, can you still invite in forgiveness and have it collapse the surface layers of what it's the moment it's being projected upon? Do you know what I mean? And then the other thing is, Francis, I saw this video of you 8 years ago and you were like, I used to have all these bodily sensations and fatigue. And I'm noticing that like in real time, like earlier today, I felt terrible, but through watching you, I shifted again. And it's like in and out all day long. Oh, victim to my body to like, you know, in and out. And I'm just wondering, do you ever deal with that anymore? Like, do you ever deal with, oh, my body and I'm tired and I feel this way, like identification? Or are you pretty much just using the body as communication and observing? Okay, those are my things.
Nice to meet you, Sophia. Hi, we love this. You just go Googling and boom, all kinds of things start flooding in.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, in my experience, I do see there is a temptation, but it's more like than anything that is real. Like Jesus described, any kind of sickness or pain is nothing but a temptation to perceive yourself as weak and as in hell. So the temptation is coming. Oh, look at this, look at this. What does this mean? What does that mean? There is a temptation to always want to distract your mind from listening to the voice of the Spirit. The Spirit doesn't really say, you have this, and you need to focus on this problem and that problem. But the ego is nothing but like wanting to distract us to say, Spirit can't solve anything. You know, what about this? And over the years, I just see that, yes, it's a temptation, and this journey is not like one-off fix. It's almost like a reinforce. We have to reinforce in our own mind that we only listen to one voice and not, that's what Jesus says in the Course, our only difference is that I listen to only one voice, which is the voice of God. And there is tremendous amount of resistance to that, and there's a lot of attraction, as Jesus describes in the Course, attraction to guilt, attraction to the separation, which is so beyond the conscious mind. So I wouldn't really feel, you know, any kind of blame or guilt if there is a temptation to, oh, look at this, what does this mean? But instead, it's always a reminder to say, let's go back to the real question here. Can you, in this moment, is coming back to the truth and coming back to the miracle, and I have the power to choose. I have no other power in this world, but I do have the power to choose, and I have the power to choose the focus of my mind. And may that be constantly reinforced, you know? And like David, I remember David mentioned yesterday that you will feel this tremendous joy when you have the real experience that this world is only a reflection of your mind. It does not exist on its own. It does not have any causation or power on its own. It all comes from within. And this is the experience that brings truth to our mind and bring this real joy to the mind. And it does take a lot of vigilance and seemingly mind training, but that's what we can do. Give the power back to the voice of God, to the Spirit. Yeah.
It's beautiful. You can always be authentic too with what's coming. You know, it's like we have been programmed and conditioned to look to the diagnosis model, which is always based on the past. You know, it's the ego just trying to lure us into thinking that we are determined by the past, and that the past causes things, whether they're genetic, whether they're things like with allergies and environments, whether it's generational, whatever the ego says, it's all lumped into the category of the past. It's just trying to keep that model of diagnose the problem from the past learning and then go for the solution based on the past learning. But that doesn't really leave room for present joy. So at some point, you just smile and you say, I'm going to try present trust. I'm going to try intuition. I'm going to try inner guidance. I'm going to go for that. And then what seems to unfold for us is still opportunities. We are given lots of opportunities to strengthen that, to teach that we're going for present trust, and again we do it, and again, and little by little, the whole diagnosis model just starts to wash away. It starts to fade away in our mind, because it was very stressful. It was very complex. No matter how much we will receive witnesses trying to reinforce it, there's something inside of us that's like, no, there has to be a better way. And I'm going to just be open to it. I'm going to just pray, show yourself, show me the way. I think for me it was like a whole perspective on everything, on the life and the world, where I thought, wow, how much of my journey has been based on fear of consequences. And then when I honestly asked myself that question many years ago, I said, my gosh, most of my, okay, I said, okay, I'm coming clean. Most of my outlook on my life and the world is based on fear of consequences. And then I started to feel this inner experience, like, would you like another way? Would you like to live by inspiration? Would you like to live by intuition? Would you like to be inspired by love and joy, and let that lead to whatever behaviors or changes would seem to occur? And I said, yeah, that's a fundamental shift, but I don't want to live by fear of consequences anymore. It doesn't feel inspired. It doesn't feel invigorating to live by fear of consequences. It's more methodical. And then I think that just shows that we're open for miracles. And then once we just have that little shift in mind, like I'm open to being inspired with all my actions, all my relationships. I would rather have relationships inspired by joy than by fear of consequences, or for safety, or for security, or for all these other reasons to need something, to get something. No, I'm through with thinking that way. I want a new way. Then with that little willingness for a new way starts to come the evidence and the witnesses for that. And we just follow the breadcrumbs. You know, you did a Google search, and then bing, 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 and then there it goes. And you say, oh, there we go, hallelujah, there is another way. and I'm happily going in that direction, yeah. So thank you for coming on, and we're excited because we've got all kinds of new different expressions that are ready to pop through for us, and we're just excited to see what they are, and just watch it as it unfolds. So it's beautiful meeting you, Sophia. Yeah, I saw you on there during our time this morning, and just so much happiness and joy radiating from you. So glad that you came on screen for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sweet, sweet. Beautiful. And it looks like we have Martine is up there. There's Martine.
Hi. I
Hi.
feel super nervous because, you know, like, from what I was hearing from Sophia, we kind of have the same kind of issue. And I was thinking, who am I to give an answer? And then I thought, you know, my lesson from today is I am the light of the world. So I should raise my hand and I should say something. But, you know, like I asked you a question yesterday, and then, you know, the answer kind of made its way a little bit. And also I've been, you know, doing the Course in Miracles for a few months now. So, so things have been shifting. And when you were saying, you know, like, can we skip the whole thing and just ask for forgiveness in the whole body? Well, this morning, I kind of had the same questions and what I heard from Holy Spirit. And if it helps you, good. And if it doesn't, then good too. But, you know, he was saying, what you need to know, I'll bring to your awareness. And stop worrying about if you need to know or if you don't need to know, because that's part of your issue. You know, that's part of what keeps you away or disconnected, you know, from who you truly are. And then he also said, and stop looking at this as you're doing this to heal, because when you do that, you see your healing in the future all the time. And the future does not exist because time does not exist. Everything is now. So just see yourself as healed. Or even, you know, like the other thing that came to me is that I've never been sick. I'm not sick. I've never been sick, and I'll never be sick because I created this, or I made this illusion of sickness, and I keep remaking it all the time at every moment of my life. And so it was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, earlier when David and Francis, you were talking about, Jesus said, the question is not, how do I not see my brother's body, or something like that. But the question is, do I want to see my brother as innocent? And I thought to myself, hey, do I want to see myself as innocent as an almighty? You know, because if I don't, then I'll never heal. So anyway, I just wanted to share that. And I wanted to say thank you so much, David and Francis and everybody, because this retreat has been really, really good for me. Thank you. I love you so much.
Thank you, Martine. That's beautiful. Wow. We end on that high note of do I want to see myself innocent? That's a beautiful question to take into our hearts. Do I want to see myself as innocent? God does. So do I want to join with my Creator? Well, thank you all so much. We are so honored to have been able to share this time with you. We are with you all the way. We walk hand in hand, arm in arm to the light together. we feel the joy and we feel the confidence of that. We are trusting in that. And for all of you that have hung with us over these 5.5 years, you know, we still have things unfolding this month, and then we're going into a swirl of all kinds of things to see what comes out. And yeah, just beautiful. And thank you, Francis. What a nice ride. We've had a lot of collaborators over those 5.5 years. I'm thinking of their faces are all starting to flesh in my mind of just saying yes to God and then seeing all these amazing witnesses and collaborations coming.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I feel so honored and so honored to be able to just be here with you every month. Yeah, it's just make me so happy and feeling blessed. And I think, yeah, like David said, we'll continue on with our collaboration and expression, and really hope that, yeah, we keep seeing each other starting July. Yeah, Peter will give you more details, but thank you so much.
Thank you.